Good afternoon and welcome to our penultimate day of our Getting Started with Cambridge event. My name's Andrea and I'm saying hello to everybody from Barcelona, Spain. And my colleague Arzu will be with us in the chat. Hi Arzu, she's saying hello from Amsterdam. Please pop into the chat where you are joining us from this afternoon. So, hello, Domenica from Italy. Lovely to see you here. So today, this afternoon, we're going to be looking at, first of all, the Cambridge support, all the support that there is for teenagers. Oh, great, Edita. Hello from Lithuania. Great to see you here today. And then we're going to be taking a look at our secondary course, Think Second Edition. So we'll be thinking about what it means to teach teenagers English and how the course supports in achieving this. So just a reminder, you will receive your certificates for attending the session in the follow-up email. The follow-up email will be sent out once the event has finished. So tomorrow is the last day, and then after that, the email will be sent out. Please feel free to interact with us in the chat and the Q&A as you are, as also during the session, I will be asking you some questions to share in the chat as well. So let's begin by looking at the Cambridge support that there is for you for teenagers. But when we're thinking about the teenage classroom, we have to think about creating the right environment. And how can we create that right environment? Because really, creating the right environment is crucial for fostering engagement, motivation, and that sense of belonging. So a positive atmosphere helps our students feel safe to express themselves, ask questions, take risks in their learning, and it also hopefully reduces distractions and behavioral issues that will allow for them to be more focused and effective. So our students need to feel that we care about their personal lives and their aspirations. Have to see how we can provide those opportunities to have their efforts recognized and in order for them to be successful and move forward. Our world of better learning, if you haven't heard about it or checked it out, please do. Our world of better learning has thousands of experiences, insights, ideas, and resources like this one. So this is a blog on getting off to a good start with a new class by Daniel Vincent. You can access it by the QR code, and I do believe, and also Arzu's just popped it into the chat. So that's one example, but on the world of better learning, there are many, many other insights and ideas and resources that you can search for. Also, you might like this little handbook with lots of great ideas. Herbert Puchter's 101 tips for teaching teens, like this one on the screen, pre-questions. So studies have shown that retention rate is higher when we're asking our learners these pre-questions. So one idea here that Herbert gives is we can write 2 or 3 questions on the board as our learners are coming in, and they can choose which question they want to answer. They write it on a piece of paper with their name, and at the end of the class, they come and they hand it in to you. So this is also a nice way to start the lesson with attention. The moment our teenagers come into the class, they are immediately engaged. The sooner they're engaged in a thinking task, the better they will be able to pay attention. And sometimes it's important to calm them down. Also, we know our world is changing extremely quickly, and we need to prepare our students with the skills and experiences that go beyond simply learning an additional language. So at Cambridge, we understand that the engaging and collaborative nature of the language classroom is the perfect place to develop and embed these qualities. So we've been working with educators to understand these skills, and we have our Cambridge Life competencies, which can integrate seamlessly into your English language program, and we can always start right at the beginning. So we've also took each of those competencies and thought about how we could create opportunities to develop them in our day-to-day classroom routines. And we've clearly linked them to activity cards. Here are just some examples on the screen for critical thinking. But as I said, we took each one of the competencies, critical thinking, creative thinking, learning to learn, and we created a set of these activity cards that you can seamlessly introduce into your classroom. Thank you, Arzu. She just posted the link that you can download them from into the chat. Also, we need to be able to give our students the tools for success. And I'm going to just share some tools with you that we have. Test and Train. So Test and Train is an online elaborated practice tool that comes along with all of our exam courses and also with Think Second Edition. It comes free. This means with Test and Train, they got practice tests, it gives them the answers, but it also explains why the answer is correct or incorrect, and therefore helps guide them with their further study. Also, we have Write and Improve. Thank you, Azu. Some of you might be familiar with Write and Improve, but for those of you who aren't, Write and Improve is an online process writing model tool where students can improve their syntactic and semantic performance through repetition. So what does that mean? So in Write and Improve, they can choose the level of the text, and they can also choose whether they want to write general English or a text specific to an exam task. Let's have a look at just one specific to an exam. So this is what you might see, B2 first. So if we select B2 first, we can then choose the question. So part 1, question 1, and then the student writes. Once they write, they submit their piece of writing, and then they get an immediate AI marked copy of their text. And it shows them the things that are good and need to be improved. So they'll see something that this sort of feedback. So all of these have a key with them. And if they click on one of these, so that you can see here, clicks on this mark here, they don't get the correct answer. And this is what's really great. They just get a question guiding them to autocorrect. So is the spelling correct? Did you mean to write friend? So it's guiding them constantly. And here is another example, a suspicious word. Is this a correct word? So Write and Improve guides them, and then they can rewrite and submit another draft and get feedback as well. So that's Write and Improve, another tool that can help support our students. Cambridge One. So Cambridge One is our versatile digital learning platform designed to enhance teaching and learning, providing a wide range of resources and tools to support your students' progress. For those of you who may already be familiar with Cambridge One, you'll be pleased to know that it continues to evolve with even more intuitive features and content tailored to your teaching needs. And if you're new to the platform, then Cambridge One offers an easy-to-use interface where you can access all of your resources and which helps you engage your students in a dynamic and interactive way. What's so special about it? Well, as I just mentioned, all in one place, all teaching and learning materials in one place. You can access, it can be accessed across multiple devices from smartphones, iPhones, tablets, iPads, computers, all devices. It's age appropriate, so no matter the age of your students, the design is there to be engaging the students from children all the way up to adults, so that our learners are feeling motivated and challenged at the right level, and it's data that you can trust. So that means it's meaningful, relevant, and actionable data. There's elements of gamification to guide you, the teachers, and also, again, to keep our learners motivated. So it's easy to register. You can log in using Facebook, Google, or Apple accounts, or just register with your email. And there's always a help button to guide and support you. So the help button will take you to videos that you can see, how you can register, and other videos that you may need to support you in registering with Cambridge One. So once in Cambridge One, you've got the 3 main sections, which are clearly labelled at the top, where you can access your classes once you've created classes. access your library where your material is, and there's a My Training tab as well. So you find your course material in all course materials. So you'd look for Think Second Edition. You can activate your materials with the code in the teacher's book, and then you can immediately bookmark your courses so that you have easy access to your Think Second Edition materials. Here is all that you have access to in one place with Think Second Edition. You have Practice Extra, interactive practice per unit. These are bite-sized learning activities with audio and video for your students, and it has performance tracking, so you can assign them Practice Extra. Of course, as I mentioned, with Think Second Edition, Test and Train comes free. You have access to this tool, so you can ensure that your students, the ones that may be preparing for the Cambridge exams, are ready for exam day. You've got authentic Cambridge exam practice tests to really help them develop those exam strategies and skills. Then you have access to Collaboration Plus. So Collaboration Plus is where students can work together on digital projects online using these Collaboration Plus tools. You can set, view, support, and grade the work, and you can share your students' project with the class. There's a showcase area, and there are teachers' notes which help to guide you with this tool. You then have the test generator. So the test generator, easy to use tool to customize and create end of unit, end of term, and end of year tests, as well as exam practice tests as well. You have the teacher's resource bank with loads of extra resources. I'll show you in a moment all the extra resources worksheets that you can download from the teacher's resource bank. And of course, you have Presentation Plus. So Presentation Plus is the front of class presentation tool with the student's book and the workbook, interactive exercises you can do in class. You've got all of the videos and the audios embedded, plus additional games. And you've also got links to Kahoot quizzes, which are linked to the unit topics. So here, excuse me. So here in the resource area, you can download a PDF copy of the teacher's book. You've got the teacher's extra resource sheets, which you can download the resource sheets for the documentaries, grammar wrap worksheets, project worksheets, vlog worksheets, grammar presentations, communication worksheets, word lists. You've got lots of resources there. Then you've got extra literature worksheets, tests again, class audio, and the video you can download. And you've got you can download the resources from Test and Train as well. So you have loads of resources here to really help you meet the individual needs of your students and your classes. So we also, the third tab, remember we had My Training, and in the My Training tab, you can find self-study modules. Now, these self-study modules are designed to help you learn and get the most out of Cambridge 1. We have 4 courses that explore how to incorporate the Cambridge digital tools into your classroom and teaching. And we've also got teaching with different courses. Here, for the teachers now here today with me, I want to point out that we have a teaching with Think Second Edition. This self-study module for you. You can focus on the area that really matters to you. It gives you an overview of the course, although we're going to look at that today as well. But it also looks at how you can incorporate those digital tools as well, like Practice Extra, the Collaboration Plus and Showcase, interactive ebook, e-workbook, and learner resources as well. So do check out the self-study module. And there's also a self-study module to help you get the most out of Practice Extra, those bite-sized learning activities with audio and video for your students that also has performance tracking. So we have also a self-study module for you to help you get the most out of this tool as well. And of course, a model of how to use and incorporate Test and Train with your students if you so wish to do. So moving on to knowing where to go for even more support. So we've got all those resources on Cambridge 1 and those digital tools, but we've also got extra support. Check out our exam preparation journey if you haven't already checked it out. It's there to support you and your students from the start of the year right up until the end of the year of celebrating results. There are loads and loads of resources, and even if you're not preparing students for the Cambridge exams, there is a lot of support for you to help them along their learning journey. It's also a great help to navigate all of the other useful sites. So there's support that you've got 10 different packs. So pack one from the beginning of the year, there's support on how to incorporate test and train and the digital sample papers into the mock test toolkit, for example, and how you can include Write and Improve, the tool we just saw, how you can include Write and Improve as a component of students' SMART goals, all the way to techniques and strategies on how to help students reflect on their learning, to materials that you can use for diploma award ceremony. So that's just a few things that you can find in the Cambridge the exam journey. Also, don't forget to sign up to our newsletter. So by signing up, you will receive regular updates designed specifically for teachers of English. So these updates will include resources to help you prepare your students for the Cambridge English qualifications, our latest teacher webinars covering a wide spectrum of subjects and free professional development, and the latest teacher news and events relevant to you. And we start our webinars next month with my colleague, Sarah Ellis, who's going to look at the power of the mock test and preparing for exam success. Also, if you haven't accessed, we have over 20 research papers for you. Here is just a selection that you can download. Of course, by carrying out all of this research, we're looking at what works best for teachers and learners, and we're trying to make sure that everything's underpinned and improved by evidence. So we deliver lots of research, deliver insights from this research that we've been doing in useful, practical guidance that you can use. So these not only looks at the latest research linked to the topic of the white paper, it also gives you practical ideas that you can take and how you can take that research into the classroom. Another word that we're hearing a lot about, an exciting area, is sustainability. So activities for developing sustainability skills. So I've got a question for all of you now while I drink a little bit of water. Type into the chat box, what words come to mind when you think about sustainability? What words? What's the first word that comes to mind? Think sustainability, what do you think of? Environment. Oh, with a nice tree and a green heart. Thank you, Donatella. That's the first thing. Green, environment. Thank you, Rosa. Anybody else? Green, environment. Yes, well, yes, and that is the first thing that comes to mind. Responsibility, thank you, Donatella. And yes, it is environmental. And if we think at a simple level, that might just mean that we make sure our students are using a writing on both sides of a piece of paper. But it is also social. So what does that mean? That might mean for our students learning to share and cooperate together. But it is also economic. So ensuring that economic activity has a positive social, environmental and cultural impact. And you're never ever too young or too old to start thinking about the impact of spending at a personal level. So at Cambridge, we're using this definition for sustainability. Sustainability encompasses the knowledge, skills, and attitudes we need to ensure a fairer, brighter future for people and the natural world. And you might be thinking, yes, Andrea, that's true. Like Donatella said, that's great. But why bring sustainability into the English language classroom? Why talk about this? Well, here are some reasons that we at Cambridge believe that the language classroom is the ideal place to include sustainability education. Young people want to play an active part in shaping the world they live in. A focus on sustainability can help learners engage meaningfully with their English language learning. It can support and provide a practical focus for the development of those ever so important life skills. English is a key language in global sustainability discussions, providing access to information and opportunities. And increasingly, governments and institutions are requiring sustainability to be embedded within the wider curriculum. So at Cambridge, we developed the framework because we love frameworks, and we've developed this framework for sustainability skills to help you better understand the skills that learners need. But one thing, of course, is having a framework, and another thing is to actually bring sustainability into the classroom, especially when you've got so many other things to think about as well. So, okay, this is great, but how can I bring that easily into the classroom? Well, we've developed a series of activity cards that you can use alongside any language course to introduce, extend, or enhance sustainability related tasks. So we've got activities, well, for young learners, and here I've got some examples for teenage learners on the screen. We also got for adult learners as well. So you'll see they're divided in by knowledge, values, innovation, transformation. These are just a few examples of the activity cards that you can use. And here you can visit this website, and I do believe, thank you, Arzu's already popped into the chat box, a link where you can find out much more about the framework, and you can access all of the resources, research, and we've also got training sessions there as well. So there you'll be able to also download all of those activity cards I was mentioning to you. So sustainability is one buzzword, but another buzzword, I think you'll all agree with me, that's being, we see it everywhere we look now, generative AI. And I have another question for you all. Type in the chat box one word or phrase about how you feel about generative AI. How do you feel about it now? I mean, maybe at the beginning, maybe it's changed. Intrigued, Zoe, excellent. I like that. Intrigued, curious, eager to know more. Thank you, Donatella. Anybody else? Yeah, intrigued, curious. It's definitely a new tool that we need to learn more about. So what we've created at Cambridge Inspiration. Thank you, Suthi Pan. Apologies if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. Yes, inspiration. Overwhelmed. Yes, I think we can maybe feel a little bit overwhelmed. And this is why we have created these generative AI idea pack. So these are a whole pack of ideas that you can try out. Arzu's just popped the link that you can download them from in the chat. So this resource really is designed to help you become more confident when using generative AI tools in your teaching practice. It provides practical ideas of how you can integrate it into English language teaching, and it uses the Cambridge English Digital Framework for Language Teachers as a guidepost, yeah? The Cambridge English Digital Framework for Language Teachers. So some of the ideas are for activities in the classroom, but others might be used as well. Do check them out to influence your own professional development. So do check out this idea pack. So that's all the support that we have for you. So now let's move on to look at our course Think Second Edition. And I have another question for you. Thinking about your teenage learners, how do you motivate and engage your teenage learners? How do you do that? What do you do? How do you motivate them? How do you engage them into the classes, into the English classes? Zoe says, active participation right from the start. Yeah, excellent. Group pair activities, Bianca says. Okay, yes. Excellent. Focus on something they're interested in. Yes, Suthifan, exactly. Something that they're interested in, right? Something that they feel is relevant to their lives as well. But yeah, so active participate right from the start. So another one, Lucy says, with a problem they have to solve. Get them thinking critically. Great ideas. Well, we're going to have a look at how Think Second Edition does just all of those things that you've actually mentioned in the chat box. So just to say, it's a 5-level course specifically for secondary. It goes from A1 at starter right up to C1 at level 5. Designed to develop students as learners, challenge them, get them challenged with interesting topics. It's between 80 to 90 teaching hours, but you can easily extend it to 180 with all of the resources that you have. And also we're going to have a look at some extension ideas as well at the material. So now I'm going to take you through the unit of in the student's book and how all of the features work and how it's set up. All of the structure, of course, follows the same structure and has the same features in all of the levels. So the objectives are clearly outlined at the beginning of the unit. And this is really important to point out. They provide a clear guidance and focus from the start. These objectives serve as a roadmap, helping our students to understand what they're expected to learn and achieve by the end of the unit, which promotes self-directed learning as students are they can track their own progress and reflect on how well they're meeting the goals throughout the unit. All of the units also start with these Getting Thinking videos designed to really pique the learner curiosity and activate their knowledge. I always think that videos, the generation of ideas happens right at the beginning. Then you'll also have every unit beginning with a reading. So follow with a reading, all designed to motivate students, get them interested in topics. For example, this reading that we have on the screen, this is from level 4, which is a B2 level. This unit is about 3 teenage boys who disappeared off an island in the Pacific. They disappeared. They were finally found. They were missing for 7 weeks, and it talks about how these 3 teenage boys survived on their own, lost out for 7 weeks. Donatella says, I make sure they don't feel judged, letting them express themselves without fear and worries. That is so important. Excellent, Donatella. And that links to what we said at the beginning. In order for them to feel like that, we have to make sure that we're creating that environment in the class that they can feel that they're not being judged and that they can express themselves. You will also find sections throughout called Train to Think. So these Train to Think sections, they focus on developing students' critical thinking skills and prompting them to consider topics thoughtfully and to share their views. So here it looks at thinking rationally. Let's think of another way. I'm going to think of another way that we could introduce a topic of a unit. So we know there's the getting started videos that introduce the topic, but we've always got these lovely visuals, and some visuals we can really exploit further. So this is from the same level, Unit 2, and these visuals lend for a wonderful creating description using the 5 senses. So you can see we've got these 4 visuals that are at the beginning of the Unit 2. So what we could do, depending on the size of your classes, divide your students into groups of 3 or 4, ask them to choose a picture, and ask them to answer the questions: what can you see? What can you smell? What can you touch? What can you taste? And what can you hear? And then get them to share answers with the class. So what these 5 questions, getting them to relate to their senses, takes that one step further than just asking them, what do they see in the picture? And I think this particular unit, this level with these images, lends itself fantastically to be able to apply this, creating a description using the 5 senses. So let's go back looking at the unit. In every unit, you will also find, normally after the reading on that same page, you will also find a pronunciation practice, a little salmon-colored box like this in every unit, which guides learners then to the back of the book for that specific pronunciation focus. In this unit, in the first unit of level 4, which should be 2 level, they're focusing in on diphthongs. As students progress through each unit, they develop grammar, vocabulary, listening, speaking, and writing. The grammar presentations use a scaffolded inductive approach to help students understand the features and structures of English grammar, and both grammar and vocabulary is always presented in context in the reading that we saw and supported with extra material in the workbook. And they will also have short videos which help illustrate and explain the grammar in an innovative and memorable way. So let's take a look at one of these grammar videos. So I'm not going to just show it to you. I want you to actually think of these sentences while you're watching this grammar video. I want you to listen and think, are these sentences, I'll ask you afterwards if these sentences are true or false. Alex has burnt the pasta. Nico didn't remember to go to the supermarket. Deborah has never climbed before. And the fourth one, Sonia suggests Deborah copy her. Okay, so you watching? Let's go.
That smells delicious. You're a great cook.
Thanks. I'm not bad now, but I was a terrible cook when I first left home. I remember burning everything, even macaroni.
Really? Are we having this sauce with pasta?
Well, that depends. Did you remember to go to the supermarket?
Oh no, I forgot. I'll go now.
Some verbs can be followed by both the gerund and the infinitive. However, using the gerund or infinitive changes the meaning. Remember is one of those verbs. Using the gerund means you are remembering something that happened before. I remember burning everything. Using the infinitive means you remember something you have to do in the future, and then you do it. Did you remember to go to the supermarket?
Wow! Are we going to climb up there? I'm not sure I can. It looks difficult.
Don't worry, I'll help you. You'll be fine.
I tried to climb with ropes once before, when I was a teenager, but I couldn't do it.
It's okay. I'll go first. You can try copying what I do.
Okay, thanks. I'll try that.
So, Alex has burnt the pasta. True or false? Yes, Donatello's correct. False. Exactly. Hello, Gino. Yes, false. Nico. Yes, false. Nico didn't remember to go to the supermarket. True or false? True. Exactly. True, true, true. Deborah has never climbed before. Oh, thank you, Zoe. It's false. No, Deborah has never. She has climbed before. And Sonia suggests Deborah copy her. It's true. Okay. So anyway, this was to show you that they have these wonderful grammar videos. These grammar videos also, in the lower levels, they're called grammar wraps. But don't forget, remember at the beginning, I showed you where you can download resources. You've also can download grammar video worksheets. What's great about when you download the grammar video worksheets, it's in a Word doc. What does that mean? You can adapt it for your specific class if you want. Okay, so it's not in a PDF. You can download it from the teacher's resources in Cambridge 1. Okay, so also your learners have access to these videos as well. So you can, if you wanted to take a flipped approach as well to the classes, you've got lots of flexibility there in how you want to use them. You will also find throughout the unit these think value boxes. So these think value boxes, students are encouraged to consider the impact of certain types of behavior on the environment. These sections you could pick and choose from, or you can exploit them further with the activity cards from the sustainability framework. They focus very much on the environment. So some of them here would be a wonderful opportunity if you wanted to bring into a class using some of these activity ideas linked to our sustainability framework here, you could do just that. And also, we also have other readings and topics that also would provide opportunity to introduce also the sustainability activity cards. Regular speaking activities, you'll find, will help students tailor and apply the language in practice. And you'll also find these word-wise sections, which offer practice with words or expressions that frequently have various meanings or uses in English. And you've also got further practice in the workbook. Basically, these word-wise sections, they develop the vocabulary from the unit even further. Daniela says, Word documents are often a problem for those working with Apple devices. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't work with Apple. So I'm not sure I can help you there, but I'm sure we must have be able to help you in some way. I think they are PDFs would be brilliant, but there are PDFs as well with other worksheets. There are PDFs. We don't have with the video worksheets. They're all in Word because we wanted to offer the opportunity for you to be able to adapt them to your classes. Okay, so let's have a look. As I mentioned, we've got lots of regular speaking opportunities. We're going to have a look at an activity idea that we could use to exploit speaking activities in Think Second Edition. So this is actually from level 3. Unit 2, and in this unit they're developing vocabulary and functional language for making decisions. So they've just completed a vocabulary exercise focusing on language used when making decisions. And then this is followed with 6 discussion questions, giving the students the opportunity to put into practice the language that they've just been looking at and learning and share their views and ideas with their peers. So let's have a think about how we can carry this out in our class. And I know at the beginning you said use lots of group work and pair work to motivate your students. So let's have a look at how we can actually carry this out with our students. So this idea is called speaking referee because often when students are speaking in groups, 1 or 2 students tend to dominate the discussion, or you'll have stronger, more confident students, and then others may be a little bit quieter and say very little. So having a speaking referee to manage the interaction is one way to help spread the participation a lot more equally among the students, and it also reinforces this idea that discussions really need to be inclusive. So how would we do this? I'd take 4 of the discussion questions. I'd take the first 4 discussion questions, and then we could ask the students, first of all, of course, they need time to prepare their ideas in order to carry out the discussion about questions 1 to 4. So we give them time to prepare their ideas, and once they have them prepared, we put them in groups of 4 to 6. Again, depending on the size of your classes, and we choose 1 in each group to act as the speaking referee. And we explain the rules for the discussion. So the rules would be the referees try to ensure that all the students in the group speak, but they don't necessarily have to speak themselves. No student speaks longer than a minute, and the referees time the speakers. Students who want to speak next, either they put up their hand Or if nobody puts up their hand, the referee chooses who speaks next by passing a ball or a stick or something to that person. And then the next speaker begins again by using a turn-taking expression. If no one has put, as I mentioned, if no one has put their hand up, the referee can choose the next speaker. Reminding students of useful expressions. So we want them to use these useful turn-taking expressions like we have on the screen. So we could do this by having it up on the board, the whiteboard, blackboard, green board, have them there so they can see the useful expressions, turn-taking expressions, or you can have them on little pieces of card for them to actually have on the table with them, and they can see them there and use them. So that students begin their discussion. It's important that we in the classroom are monitoring and we're making sure that the referees are managing the discussion, and we're there to support if necessary. And then at the end, once we've finished this discussion, important that during feedback on the discussion, we can ask our students how they felt about having a referee. So how we could ask them questions like, did having a referee mean they had to speak more or less? What does this tell them about the way they normally participate in group discussions? And do they need to try doing something different in group discussion? So it's really important to then ask our students to reflect on how was it to have that speaking referee. So just things to take into account. Always the first time we start something new or we try something new in our classes with the students, it might be our students might be a little bit self-conscious the first time we try this activity. Think about how choosing the referees carefully, depending on the group. Maybe think about someone who's friendly manner, who's likely to be supportive or less supportive of those less confident students. You can vary the activity by making the speaking time shorter or longer. Okay, so I said 1 minute, but why not? You can make it, depending on the age of your students, the level of your students, you can make it shorter, 30 seconds or right up to 2 minutes. Students can record if you are in a learning environment where your students can use recording on smartphones. Why not ask them to record the discussion and they can listen back to evaluate their use of turn-taking expressions, for example. And it's great, of course, it's great practice for students preparing for the Cambridge exams because, of course, in the speaking paper, there is a task that requires them to speak for a longer term. And of course, in fact, this is really flexible. You can create as many or fewer rules for referees as you like. So this is one activity idea, the speaking referee, that also helps students to have more inclusive discussions. So coming to at the end of the unit, every 3 units, there's a different 2 pages that ends every 3 units. So the first double pages are focuses on developing skills and life competencies. Then we have Zoe says, do evaluate their oral production at this stage. With that activity idea, well, you could, if you wanted to use that as an evaluation of their oral production, you could, but I wouldn't do that until they're really comfortable with having a speaking referee. You don't necessarily have to evaluate it. It's there in the example I was showing you was with discussion questions, giving them the opportunity to put into practice functional language that they'd just studied, looked at functional language that they can use for making decisions. Yeah. And also, as I mentioned, sometimes we put our students into groups to say, okay, discuss these discussion questions, and the discussions aren't inclusive. You will have those students that are speaking much more and more confidently, and we'll have the quieter students. So the speaking referee is just a technique or strategy that maybe you'd like to try with your students to make those discussions more inclusive. Okay, so back here, so we have every 3 units, developing speaking skills and the life competency pages. Then we have culture sections and extended writing, and then literature and extended writing. So we'll look at each of these in turn. So developing speaking and life competencies, there are specific pages. You can see specific pages dedicated to only developing speaking, really designed to help students build their speaking confidence. There's initial audio dialogue, provides input for the functional language and phrases for fluency, and there is a clear scaffolded approach leading up to a final task that they have to carry out. We then also have the life competency pages that include a vlog style video focusing on developing a key competency. So students watch teenagers talking about the skill in question. It's all linked to our Cambridge Life Competencies framework. And these life competency pages, depending on how many hours you have as well, how many hours of class you have, you can pick and choose from these life competency pages because it's not a core part of the unit. So depending on how many hours, if you feel there's things that you have to pick and choose from, the life competency pages are one of those. You might want to ask your students which ones they're interested in looking at. And you'll see here, they all include these great tip boxes that can be exploited further in class. Then the this is every 3 units, yeah? So then we have the culture sections and extended writing. The culture sections introduce interesting topics from information about people and places around the world, really designed to spark that discussion in speaking tasks that require students to make use of information presented in the text. And then we also have an extended writing section, again, guiding students through writing processes, through a variety of text types. Again, here, the students are presented with a model text for analysis for the task and purpose, and then they have to practice the useful language they will need in order then to finally produce their own piece of writing. So again, a scaffolded approach, providing that support that students need to then feel ready in order for them to create and put together their own piece of writing. So let's have a look at another activity idea, another one which we can use with reading text. It's called information trade, and I'm using this with this culture page. So you'll see here in this culture page, there are 3 distinct paragraphs, small texts. What we could do is for homework, from a homework task, we divide our class into 3 groups. So we divide them, group 1 reads about Tinglet, group 2 reads about the Bedouin, and group 3 reads about the Nukakmaku. So we'd say, you know, we divide all of our students. If you've got 12 students, and I'm not very good at maths, you say 3, 4, you group your number 1s, you read about the Tinglet. Your number 2s, you read about the Bedouin, and number 3s, you read about the Nukakmaku. And all they have to do for their homework is read that paragraph. Then in the lesson task would be putting them into their groups, 1, 2, and 3. So 1 student from each research group. You could even ask them to find out more information if you wanted to make it a little bit, give them a little bit more than just read the paragraph. You could say, read the paragraph and then do research and find out at least 2 more things about these people that isn't said in the reading, for example. So then the students are there exchanging the information they found out about the tribe. Just by doing it like this, it immediately creates more opportunities for speaking in the lesson, and hopefully as well gives our students more desire to find out about the other information that their peers have read about. So that's an idea. I've used this particular page, but this information trade can be used with other reading texts throughout Think Second Edition. Then we have the literature and extended writing. The literature lessons expose students to authentic language and really encourages an appreciation of literature. So these lessons expose students to extracts from authentic literature by classic and contemporary authors. So the aim of these lessons is not language learning, but rather this literary appreciation and reading for pleasure, and it leads into an extended task. Again, like with the life competency pages, the culture pages, and these literature pages, depending on how many hours of class you have and the size of your groups, these are pages that you can pick and choose from. So let's have a look at another idea of how we can exploit a reading text. So why not create a reading race from the text? And why not ask generative AI to help us out here? So basically what I did, I took this reading text and I asked ChatGPT, please, could you generate 6 comprehension questions at an intermediate level of English? And this is what ChatGPT gave me with these 6 comprehension questions. I had to adapt them ever so slightly. It really wasn't a lot that I needed to change and adapt, but it was really, really quick, easy to adapt with any reading text. I chose this one. And we could also, so with these comprehension questions, we could then also maybe use techniques to deal with the differentiation that we have in our classes. So for example, techniques like we could ask our students, choose 3 questions to answer. Okay, you could get them working in groups, in pairs, in their pairs or their groups. Okay, I want you just to choose 3 of these questions to answer. Or we could ask them answer at least 3 questions. So we're not, or at least 4 questions, or at least 2 questions. So we reach all of our students, and we're not making them feel like, oh, I have to answer 3. And for those that are able to answer more, they can. Or we could give them a time limit. So answer as many as you can in 15 minutes. So these little techniques we could also apply to this idea. Another idea that we could apply to reading text is this idea of choice, a choice board. So incorporating elements of choice in the teenage classroom is crucial. Why? It fosters autonomy, engagement, and motivation in our students. So we know that our teenagers are at that stage where they want more independence. They're looking for independence, and they're also looking for relevance, personal relevance. Really important to try and make the classes as relevant to our teenagers' lives as possible, make them feel part of their own learning. So we could offer them choice, whether with assignments, topics, or tasks. We are empowering our students to take ownership of their learning. So here, this choice board, we have 8 different tasks that they could do linked to any reading. I put it with this reading, but this could be used with any reading. So if we're giving them this choice, it also, well, it doesn't only enhance their intrinsic motivation, but it also gives them the opportunity to explore their interests, yeah? So it leads to that deeper engagement, more meaningful learning experiences, and also we're nurturing this critical thinking, decision-making skills, all of this essential for their growth. So look at these 8 activity ideas that you can, these tasks that you can relate to text. And I'd just like you to, well, I'm going to put the question and then I'll take it off. Pop into the chat box, which task or tasks would you choose to carry out with your class? Okay, I'm going to take it off so you can see all 8 tasks. Oh, so Donatella goes in with 7, creating character profile. Okay. Anybody else? So Laura says 2, a trailer for the film adaptation of the story. Yeah, because this is actually, it's a story with a film, I should say, with Hugh Grant, and it was adapted from a book. So Zoe says 2, 3 threes, create timeline events. 1s, okay, so it's lovely to see you've got a variety of which ones you believe would work with your students. But these, you can use this choice board and you can use it with any reading text, really. Another way you could possibly use it is, imagine you could give the choice board. So your students have this choice board. And then if you're using a certain reading in the class, you could then say, okay, today with this reading, I'm going to let you choose what task you would like to do with the choice board. And maybe you could even want to tick them off. So maybe if they've chosen with one reading text to create a trailer for the film, that adaptation of the story, then they'd have to tick that off. And through the year, they have to go working through these different tasks. But they're kind of choosing which tasks to do with which reading when you give them that opportunity. So yeah, so it's always important to let our students have that opportunity of choice, to feel that they do have autonomy, over a certain amount of autonomy over their learning. Every 2 units, you will also find exam practice and test yourself pages. The exam pages take the format from the exams to really reduce that learner stress if you have students that are taking the exams. And then, of course, we have the test yourself every 2 units, where they can pages here, they become more autonomous, and also they can consolidate and assess and reflect on their learning. You'll see at the bottom of the test yourself pages, you've got the little emoji scoring, which encourages learners to be reflective. So that's the student's book. Do pop into the chat box if you have any specific questions linked to the student's book. We're now going to just take a quick look at the workbook. I just want to show you what you have in the workbook. In the workbook, you will find activities at 3 levels of difficulty. So it's a signaled using a star system, 1 star being the easiest, 3 stars being the most challenging. You'll also find these get it right boxes, common mistakes, practice, a common mistakes practice, which is informed by our Cambridge Learner Corpus. And you'll also find vocabulary extra sections, which will include language organizers, as you can see on the screen, to help learners review and expand their understanding. As I mentioned, when we're looking at the student's book here, you can see that development of the word-wise section from the student's book is here also in the vocabulary sections of the workbook. You've got extra reading and pronunciation practice and extended scaffolded writing pages for every unit. And there is also extra practice and useful tips to students in Cambridge Practice exam sections as well. And also in the workbook, every 2 units, you have further consolidation, giving students the opportunity to review, consolidate, and see their progress, which is an important part as well of maintaining their motivation in their learning journey. So that's a workbook. And of course, we have the teacher's book. Let's just take a quick look. In the front of the teacher's book, you will find life competencies. They're mapped with the Cambridge Life Competencies Framework. And you'll also see an overview of where the life competencies are worked on throughout the course. And then it's interleaved with the student's book. So you can see, you open the teacher's book, you can see the student's book page right in the teacher's book, and all of the teacher's notes come around the student's book page. It provides background information, warmers, tips on collaborative learning. You've got flipped classroom activities, you've got optional tasks for mixed ability at 3 levels. It tells you exactly all of the support you need, always at the bottom, the resources for this unit, so you can see everything that's available in this unit and decide how you want to use them with your specific group of students. So that kind of brings us to the end of looking at Think Second Edition. And I want to share, after looking at all this great material, I want to share a quote with you. I think this is a really great quote. Difficulties arise when we try to use textbooks exactly as they are without thinking about the needs, skills, and circumstances of the particular set of students sitting in front of us. The coursebook is an invaluable tool. It's there, it guides us, it supports us. But as we know, every single classroom and every group of students is completely different. We know we can do one thing with one group of students. We do the same thing with another group of students. It doesn't work, but with the other one, it does. So knowing the material inside and out, knowing the needs and circumstances and skills of our students allows us to be flexible, to adapt the course book to meet the specific needs and interests of our students. And with Think Second Edition, you have so many resources that will enable you to do just that. And of course, just to finish, it's great that we have all of these resources, but if we can't manage our classrooms, we won't be able to get much out of the material. So I thought it'd be great to finish off with these 5 tips for managing the classroom. I've taken the vowels out of keywords. Can you guess what the first word is? You still with me? And it's Monday, end of day Monday. Activate. Yes, Donatella, activate. Activate your learners right from the start. And you guys said that. Remember when I asked you at the beginning, how do you engage, motivate your teenage learners? So we have to activate them right from the start. Get them engaged from the moment they enter the classroom. Use energizing activities or thought-provoking questions like the suggestion from Herbert Puchter's. Yes, I'm wait for me, guys. I haven't got to that yet. As Herbert Puchter's book. Yes, thank you, Paula, establish classroom routines. So consistent routines create that sense of stability, making our students feel secure. I know one of you mentioned in the chat box, you want your students to feel secure and feel they're not being judged and that they can use the language. So by creating routines, it creates that sense of stability. And when they know the flow of the day or the lesson, they can focus on learning without distraction. So these clear routines can help to maintain order in the classroom. Yes, thank you, Paula. Flo, Zoe's already said everything at once. Yes, make your lessons flow, ensure that they're well organized and move smoothly from one activity to the next. For our classes to be well organized, we need to be well organized. Avoid long pauses or disorganized transitions. They might lead to loss of focus. It's a bit like, think about threading the needle. Yeah, so you know where you've been and you know where you're going to go. Thank you, Paula and Zoe. Yeah, make sure learners do what you want them to do. So be assertive, be clear in your expectations. We need to be clear what we expect from our students. They do test our boundaries sometimes, so it's important for us to be firm and consistent in ensuring that they follow our directions. Yeah, so this doesn't mean that we have to be really strict, but it does mean that we need to be sure that our authority is respected. And last but not least, yes, voice. I know you've already said it, the voice. Maybe we don't really think about our voice, but it's good to be aware of our voice in the classroom. I think it's really important that it doesn't become high-pitched or loud. Our voice can convey so much. And yeah, those are days where sometimes that's really difficult. But if we're aware of that, we can try and keep our tone calm and steady. Because, of course, this, again, will convey authority, calmness, and it will help maintain productive, respectful environment, maintain that productive energy. Thank you, Paula. So that brings to the end of today. I hope that you found today's session useful, this webinar useful for using Think Second Edition. If you have any questions, please pop them into the chat box. I'm going to share a poll with you. Thank you, Daniela. Where's my poll? There's a little poll that's starting. If you could answer, that'd be fantastic. We always want to see, please, your feedback is invaluable. And we have one last day tomorrow. So I hope you have, like I said, found today useful, some ideas. If you haven't tried them out or done anything similar, try out the speaking referee. Try using chat GPT to generate comprehension questions. I think generative AI for us as a support as teachers is fantastic. We just have to go trying things out, and it can save us loads of time. So do try that out and have a great rest of the week. Thank you, Salika. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Anna. Have a great Monday and rest of the week. Thank you.